Hi, everybody. Welcome to Revitalise Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet business entrepreneurs, business connections from across the globe. And today I've got the great pleasure to be with a gentleman who's got over 6 years' experience in debt recovery and other business activities. Can you please welcome with me today the one, yes, but as always, the only Mr. Ian McPherson of Hewitt McLeod. Ian, how are you today?
I'm very well, Lee. Thank you. And once again, thanks for the amazing introduction. Really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. I try and build you up a little bit more if I could do, but that's as much as I can give you so far. But
There's only so much room in this place for my head, so you don't want to make it too good. So
thanks very much, Ian. So, would you mind starting just by letting everybody who's watching and listening to us today a little bit about your business journey? Would you mind
yeah,
sharing that with everybody?
yeah, sure, certainly. Well, first of all, Hewitt McLeod, I formed that back in 2015, and as you say, we help with debt recovery. And normally, the first question I get asked is, why would you want to go into debt recovery? And the answer to that starts a way back when you first used to get a job. You had to get a paper called the Herald in these days, and you just sent letters away for office jobs. And I got a job in credit control in an accounts office, and that's where I first got an introduction to collections, you might call it that. And I worked there for about 6 years. A big Scottish electrical company, had branches all over the place. And then from there, I jumped into Coca-Cola, which was again credit control, and it was commercial business to business. So through those two organisations, I got an introduction to both consumer, commercial, and also got shown about credit management and what goes into it. And that stayed with me for many years, and intermittently I had 10 years doing financial services as well, insurance, mortgages, pensions, investments, and that type of thing. But I suppose my heart and my head was always in the credit control and the accounts side of things. And then about 15 years ago, I was approached by a colleague who I used to work with in Coca-Cola to help them set up a debt recovery company also. And I did that for about 10 years. And that gave me a good insight into how a business works and setting it up, because there only was about 4 or 5 of us there at the time. And it gave me an insight into how to set it up and how to maybe manage that and to go about getting business, etc., and to see it from both sides, you know. Uh, but like everything else, you get to a stage where I was 55 and I'm thinking I could stay here for the next 10, 15 years, wait for that, the pocket watch, and thanks very much, Ian. But I was getting a bit frustrated, and there was things happening. I thought I think people need to look after clients. It was all about, what can we do for clients, but what can we get out of clients? And it wasn't sitting right with me. It was all about the reason why we were doing it had changed over the years. I said, turned 55, and I thought I could do this myself. I really could. And that's when I took the leap. Rather than winding down, I took the leap to become a business owner. And we're now where we are today, with my business partner Graham, who it's set up with, and that's what we're about. We're about helping businesses. That's our reason why, really. That's why we do it. It's to make businesses' life easier. That's what we're about.
And I think as well, it's looking after people's cash flow. It's making sure the money's coming in at the right time, and it's a testament to yourself and Graham really for having a business that's, as we said earlier, just over 6 years old, especially with everything that's going on right now as well. And we look back on some of the information you passed through to me as well, from outsourcing the credit control for 10 years, like I mentioned before, and even some of the unique selling points we've chatted about is like you understand the pain and frustration from a client's perspective as a business, which I think
Yeah,
is
I mean,
extremely important.
yeah, yeah. People will use our service, Lee. They want to get paid, but it's the pain that you're taking away. It's they want to do what they enjoy doing. Same as us all. We set up a business, to do what we enjoy doing. If you've got to spend time doing things like chasing payment, or have to worry about, am I going to get paid? Have to worry about cash flow. That's taking away positive things. That they set the business up. So in a sense, I think we add a lot to businesses. We're sort of, in a sense, like a virtual credit controller for them to use as and when required. But it's just working together and forming those partnerships, how to use to the best
Yeah.
ability.
And I think as well, when you look at how you're working well with clients and how you're going to adapt to overcome the challenges that are
Mm.
really put in front of you, there's one of the biggest ones that I noticed as an achievement from yourself was that you've been able to support businesses, not just in the UK, but also across the globe worldwide with the services provided by you. But it's also in many cases that business owners have not given up slightly, thought, oh, just let it go. No, we won't let it go. We'll look after it for you. So
Yeah.
you've now from that achievement is sort of opened up, especially now embracing the world of Zoom and virtual space. You've got a
Yeah.
worldwide audience. Has that been one of your biggest achievements to date?
Yeah, that has. I mean, if I think back to when I first came into this industry, it was very much, your technology consisted of a telephone. That was your technology. Whereas now, you know, with the Zoom, Facebook, different, the web, World Wide Web, people and businesses want to be seen. You know what I mean? Which in the reverse of that has made it easier for us to find people. So when people uh, approach us to help them, it can be anywhere in the world now. It's they have a process in place, but when it comes to an end, they go, right, what do we do now? And it's just us thinking outside the box. Go, okay, well, how can we find these people? How can we go about it in a different way? And that's what we do. We just take a different approach.
Mm.
You know, and you still get a buzz when you do. It doesn't matter how much it is. Every business. If we're going back to a business owner and saying, "Here's your money, that's paid," they're amazed. They go, "How did you do that?" And it's, as I say, it's just that being able to give something back, and it makes for them, they've provided a product, they've provided a service, and they've got what they deserve, and that's what we're about. Everybody out there's providing brilliant products, brilliant services, and if it was a perfect world, you wouldn't need us. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
you
And
know,
I think as well, it's more like the power of the third. So
mm,
having a neutral
mm,
party looking at somebody who has got that money outstanding, but that money coming back in is like another investment back into their business. It's money that's been not being used, not being used to its best purpose.
yeah, and it's money that they haven't got in the business, so they're having to fund that in other ways. Now it might be a company like a bank overdraft. It might be having to take out a loan. It might be having to use company credit cards to to cover that money that's not in the business.
Yeah.
So I mean, we know for the last 18 months have been like for cash flow in businesses. It's been well documented. But it's how quickly you get paid is so important. It's not. I hear it so many times. If they always pay late, why do you accept that? And it's something we throw back at potential clients. Why do they pay late?
Mm, mm.
And it's because you allow them to pay late. So it's educating. It's we educate our clients, they educate their customers, and it actually makes for a more, you know, a better relationship, a stronger relationship as well.
Correct. And it's great talking about relationships as well in regards to that. Once you've built that trust, that understanding, that loyalty in what you're providing, it then just it's like a tidal wave that really goes further. When people get used to knowing that there's a process in place for recouping the cash or
Yeah,
recouping the outstanding finances, it does build that trust and relationship up with the individuals that you're working with. And it's vice versa, it's a two-way street.
yeah,
With them that's going on at the moment, we're talk about a lot on this on the podcast and on the channel. It's all about what's happening in the last 12 months, and we've all had to embrace a different type of version virtually of ourselves. And we met briefly just before we went into the sort of like online as such. How have you adapted your business, yourself and Graham, to what's been happening over the last 12 months? How have you adapted your business to overcome the challenges of working online? What's been the biggest difference to you?
Well, there's two aspects to that. The first one is how do you get business? How do you make connections? We had a strategy as to where we were going to go and who we were going to meet and how we were going to go about it, and all that closed down. There was nowhere to go. Okay, what do we do now here? And as you said, about probably a couple of weeks before that happened, had the pleasure of meeting yourself, and that gave me a launch pad into the virtual networking world, which as well now know is the norm now, but which we've embraced. But as regards how we do the job, you know, a lot of our clients froze, just like everybody. Initially, they just froze. What do we do here? You know, how can we actually be chasing or asking people to pay, given what's going on in the world? So, you know, we had to have conversations with our clients to say, look, at the end of the day, you have still provided a product, you've still provided a service, you still need to be paid. Now, what you have to do first and foremost is communicate. You're going to have to find out how are your clients dealing with this. They might be fine, they might be able to pay you, they might be able to pay you half, you might be able to come to some arrangement, but you're going to have conversations and make that communication. So that's what we did for a lot of our clients. They still wanted not to be that face of it. So we did a sort of fact find. How are you getting on? How are you coping? Are you able to pay? And it was very much managing for about 6 months, payment arrangements, finding out what our clients, customers' current situation was, what the prospect of coming out of it was, and then building the relationships from that. And it's only now, probably in the last 3 months, things are maybe getting back to some sort of normality, as to what we provide to our clients.
Yeah, and I think it's bridging that gap of being visible, engaged, being active, and having those conversations. And we spoke about it prior to today's recording as well. It's the afters. It's what happens afterwards. It's those conversations where the golden nuggets of areas that really crop up that you can really jump onto and really
Yeah.
help one another out as well. So,
Yeah, I mean that's totally right. I mean, and from our perspective, the good thing with it going on virtual, it's given us a wider audience
mhm.
to maybe showcase what we do, but also maybe to break down some of the barriers that people maybe thought about when using a third party. I think we've laughed about the baseball bat and the Rottweilers and the chap at the door, but that was a people's perception sometimes, whereas we're all about avoiding that. If it's avoiding bad debt, it's getting paid quicker. It's back to cash flow again. It's being strong about your payment terms. And that type of thing, and being proactive and positive about it. So
Definitely. And that comes in nicely to our really sort of next part of today. And that's looking at the golden top three tips from yourself, from Hewitt and McLeod, of what would be your top three tips in regards to cash flow and also payment terms. What would you share
yeah,
with everybody who's watching and listening today?
that's probably the most difficult question, Lee. I've actually got 15 tips I could give you, but I'm going to pick out three, and I'll maybe share this with some of your listeners later on.
Fabulous.
There's one of the first things is know who you're dealing with. Know your customer. I give the example: if somebody was to walk up in the street and ask you for £5,000, Lee, would you put your hand in your pocket and just hand it over? No, you wouldn't.
I
You'd
wouldn't.
want to know who they are. You know what I mean? You want to check out they are who they say they are. Okay. You want to know their credit worthiness. So all these type of things is the very first step that you should do. Okay, that's number one tip. Number two, yeah, terms and conditions. Make sure they are crystal clear and you communicate them, not just at the beginning, but throughout the sales process. So there should be no surprises when it comes to that time when you're asking for payment. Okay. Another one is being what I call being proactive. A lot of businesses, as I keep saying, provide an absolutely brilliant product, a brilliant service. They send out their invoice, and then they sit back and they expect payment just to drop into a bank account. In an ideal world, it does happen, but you can make certain steps to make sure it does. And one of them is being proactive. And what we mean by that is sort of disguising a collections call. You send out your invoice, you phone up maybe 2 days later, and it's going, "Hi Lee, were you happy with the product or the service?" "Yes, Ian, I was. It was great. Thanks very much. I forwarded over the invoice to you. Yeah, I got it this morning. Is everything okay on it? Was everything correct on it? Now it says payments due on Friday the 7th. Is that fine?" "No, no problem." "Great. You've done a collections call, but you've actually turned it into a customer service call, where the
Right.
customer's actually thinking, that's really great, you're following up. I'm happy with the product. You're making sure the invoice is all correct. You're not waiting till it's past due. Then you start unearthing errors, because at the end of the day, cash flow is about getting the money into your business as quickly as possible. Get the invoice out straight away, make sure it's correct, follow up, and deal with any issues before it becomes past due. And that's my three. There's a lot of, I said, there's a lot more in here, but that's 3 out of 15, which I used to get that mark at school, like 3 out of 15 do better, but but that gives you a sample of some of them.
Well, the wee word that was in red writing, room for improvement.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, or see me after class, that bit.
Correct. And if anyone's watching and listening today, I mean, I'd highly recommend speaking to Ian and get his 15 top tips leaflet or book about that as well, and what you've heard today. And thank you for sharing those 3 golden tips. Really worthwhile putting those into place. Now, we talk about learnings. We talk about what you've learned about yourself, and I talk a lot about self-reflection, and I make time in my schedule to reflect on my weekly, my monthly activities, who I'm meeting, who I'm learning from, and what knowledge I've gained over that time. If I was to ask you the question about this as well, and we spoke about it prior to today, what's been your learnings? Has it been training? Has it been business events? Has it been books? Or has it been from self-reflection, Ian?
Yeah,
What, what,
well, yes, and yes. Yeah, I mean, I think when I set up the business, you're you're an expert in your particular field, but you quickly realise there's a lot more. There's a lot more involved in running a business. And one of the big things as well was understanding, why you do what you do. As well. So, read a lot of books about the reason why you do it. So that type of thing, and making sure that that comes across, to my connections as well, that we're passionate about what we do, and trying to give over the benefits that they get. Because at the end of the day, people are not interested in what I do. You know what I mean? They're not interested at all. They're interested in what I leave them with. And that was one of the key things. So I don't try to bore people too much about how we go about it. Just know, but we'll provide the service. And the other thing as well is tapping into the network now, especially through RBC as well, is the wealth of talent, and being able to ask for help. I think that's a big thing as well. It's not, just me and Graham. We've got a network of people out there that we can use, and we have used, to help us and support us along the journey. And that's a hope what we offer as well, support to other businesses and other to people within the network as well. So, and again, it's looking at what our goals are. Hopefully, at the end of this year, we're looking at maybe bringing somebody else on. Okay, we're hoping maybe to develop, other aspects of how we can support businesses in the different stages of credit control as well. Not just about collecting, because there's a lot goes on before that. So it's just, again, keeping abreast of what we can do and improve.
Yeah, I think natural personal development and improvement is important. And I'm pleased you brought up the networking side of it as well, because it's, you talk about the wealth of knowledge and the experience that people have. And I think it's right what you're saying, and what you've brought into the RBC as well, is actually looking past. We talk about it quite a lot, looking past the front cover of the book, looking past Hewitt and McLeod, and going into what your past experiences,
Yeah.
and having the support that's there, and having the opportunity to ask for help, to say, listen, I need this support today. Who can I ask? And put it out to a wide net, close knit community that can give you a response back from it as well, Ian. So
Yeah.
it's great to hear that. Really is.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, you're welcome. With everything that's been going on, and great successes, great achievements, great challenges that you've overcome, as well with you and Graham with the business. What's the next steps for you? What's around the corner? What's next for Hewitt and McLeod?
Well, what we're developing now, a sort of, you know, relationship with clients where we're virtually a virtual, credit controller that they have. Okay, now it can be either a certain number of hours a week, number of hours a month, but it's not just about collecting. As I say, there's a lot of other things go into credit control management, rather than just collecting. That's just part of it. As we mentioned, knowing your customer. So we can provide credit checks for, business to business, commercial businesses. We can provide that as well. We can provide letter templates. We can provide outsourced credit control. You know, we can do the recovery as well. But we can also just give advice. And I think people, and a lot of business owners, smaller businesses especially, do get to that stage where they go, what do I do now? You know, I've followed my process, but I've come to the end of it. What do I do now? And we're now just at the end of the phone. And these clients know we're at the end of the phone or an email away to say, look, Ian, what do you suggest? You know what I mean? And that's what we're developing now. And also, you know, as I've touched on, we collect all over the world now. But the reverse of that's now we're looking at, you know, there must be businesses in other parts of the world who are trying to collect from companies within the UK. So we're trying to tap into it. Where do we go to tap into that? You know, and so that's something we're looking at as well. So.
But well, if you are a global business and you're looking to reverse it round the other way, and you're looking for companies that are in the UK that, again, collecting monies or putting some sort of credit control in place, reach out to Ian and reach out to Graham. And I wish you all the very best for the next steps for yourselves, because it sounds like an exciting time of just expansion and embracing the worldwide audience that we have around us just now. You've shared a lot of information today, some great content, some great top tips. So thank you for doing that, Ian. How can people who are watching and listening thinking, I need to speak to Ian today? So how can they make contact with you? Is it by carrier pigeon?
Yep.
What's the best way of getting in touch with you?
Yeah, no, I've moved on from carrier pigeon, thankfully, you know. But we have got, obviously, LinkedIn is probably the easiest way, is on LinkedIn, or email. It says ian@hewittmcleod.com. Or if they're Revitalise business members, they can get us through the network as well. You know, we've also got a digital business card as well, as we all know as well, which is you can connect us through them as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And I would highly recommend anybody who's watching and listening to reach out to Ian, organize that conversation, organize the virtual cuppa, and have a right good chat about each other's business, because you never know what you'll discover in the conversations that you're having. And like Ian's saying, if you want to find further details, go to the Revitalise website, go to the members directory, and you can find further details for Ian there to organize that well and truly important one-to-one meeting. Ian, thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it.
Yep.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you to you all out there for watching and for listening today. And we look forward to welcoming you back to the next Revitalise Beats, where, as always, I get the great opportunity to meet business entrepreneurs and business leaders from across the global business network. We wish you all the very best. And as always, keep safe, keep healthy, and keep connecting. Take care, everybody. Speak to you all soon. Bye-bye for now.